guys, thanks for joining me today. I am so excited for today's video because I'm going to be sharing with you guys our home, a tour of our home. Now, quick little backstory, we recently had the opportunity to build basically our dream home. This is a dream that we've had for a really long time. It took, years of saving, years of planning, and then years of kind of tweaking things to make this happen, and then of course the time that it took to build it. So we are really excited to be done and to be in the house and to have it pretty much finished. A couple things to know, I said we were finished, but really we're like 98% finished. So there's a couple things in here that still need to be done. Some paint touch-up, some nail holes that need to be filled, caulking that needs to be done, a lot of things that eventually we'll get around to doing, but for the most part the house is finished. Also, the house is not fully decorated yet. We basically have just decorated with things that we kind of already had. I have a couple of things in here that I thrifted or DIY'd myself, and then just kind of working with the furniture that we already have. But I thought it would be fun to share with you guys kind of where we are now, and then hopefully as we kind of move forward with some projects that we have planned and with decorating, we can kind of show you guys kind of the progress that we make. If you have an interest in home renovation and decorating and DIY in farmhouse style, then this I think will definitely be something that will interest you. So I hope that you will subscribe to this channel. Definitely check back later because I really am excited to share more projects that we have coming up. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. All right, so here we are in just the entryway of the house right as you come in the front door. I love this spot. This is probably one of my favorite spots in the house and one of the ones I was most excited about just from the plans that we had. I just love an open, like wide, big open, bright entryway. I think it's just so inviting. And this is everything that I kind of dreamed that it would be. I just really, really love all the space in here, and I especially love all the natural light. And the stairway is so beautiful, and I have to give huge props to my husband because he built this basically completely on his own. I mean, with no help at all. He is not a professional carpenter or a professional craftsman. He's just good at this kind of stuff, and I just think he did such a great job finishing it out. So let me just kind of explain to you guys just kind of how the floor plan sort of works on this first level. So we have kind of a semi-open concept floor plan. So the back area back there, our kitchen, informal dining, and living room is all wide open. But everything else is kind of separated but semi-open at the same time. So everything's separated by, you can see these cased openings here. I'm a huge fan of cased openings. I just think they're so pretty when they're visually beautiful, like the finish work on them is so pretty, but also they just let so much light into your house, but they give you just a little bit of privacy, which I really love because I don't love the idea of somebody like standing in the foyer and then like seeing me lazily laying on my couch or seeing my messy kitchen. So I like that there's a little bit of separation, but you still get the light that kind of floods in and out of each room from the windows. So this is the first room in the house. This is is it formal living or family room? I can't remember. I should have looked that up. I can never keep that straight. But basically this kind of serves as like a music room for us right now. We have our upright piano in here. We've got my husband's guitar. One of my sons plays the cello, so once school starts again, that will be in here as well. But I love this room. It's a really pretty, just like entry room to the house. Pretty modestly decorated right now. I would love to get new furnishings for basically my entire house, but basically we're just working with kind of what we have already. So these chairs actually I got from my mom's basement. They were just old chairs that used to sit on her porch. They were red, I painted them black. And kind of they're just serving as like placeholders right now. Eventually I would like to get updated furniture in here. I would love especially to replace this rug. That's probably the first thing I would do in here is replace this rug with something a little bit more like cute and trendy. But for now, this is fine. That's definitely not one of the higher priorities for us. Let me just show you real quick the front window. So here's just a view of the front window. I love this window. In fact, there's another one actually in this formal dining room as well, but I love this, just such a great window because it lets so much light into the entire house. So beautiful, and I love, let me show you, see if I can darken it up a little bit and show you the view. Yeah, such a good view. Like this entire house has really beautiful view. We're basically on the edge of a 64-acre alfalfa farm, and it's seriously so beautiful. Like just all the greenery. I love like the rustic sprinklers going in the spring. Really, really pretty. Okay, then moving on from there, we go into our formal dining room. I love having this room. It's definitely not the most used room in our house, but now that we have a table in here, we actually got this from my sister. She got a new table and let us loaned us this one until we get around to actually building the one that we want to build. But it's really nice to have that in here now for homework. The kids can do their homework in here. Also, I really love my chandelier in here. We definitely need to drop that down. We left it up, had our electrician install it a little bit higher because we were still in the construction process. We didn't have a table for this room yet, and I just knew that we would be constantly hitting our heads on that if it was too low. But I really love it. It's from Amazon. I will try and link it below if it's still available. I also really love, once again, the big window in here. I love these big windows. They let so much light into the entire house. For this room, there's really not a whole lot that needs to be done in here. I would love to replace, let me show you the rug. I would love to replace this rug. This is just one that, again, I think this was my mom's rug that she had in storage. She let us kind of use as a placeholder in here. So I would love to replace this rug, maybe get some drapes in here and just drop that chandelier down, and then maybe some like pictures or something, or like art on the wall. Okay, so now we're kind of like in the hallway by the kitchen. This is just a view of the foyer from the kitchen. Again, I love this foyer. Is it not so beautiful? Look at all that beautiful light. But I didn't mention, we do have two closets here. So this one right here is just a coat closet. And then again, this is like the dining room and opening. And then right here we have another closet. This one kind of serves as like we have DVDs in there right now. We have like a bunch of blankets. I have some like old scrapbooking supplies in there and photo albums. It's kind of just like the storage closet for anything that we might need downstairs. Right now it's a disaster. So one more thing, I did initially think about, see this little triangle wall that is right here underneath the stairs. I initially thought about doing like a shiplap feature right there, but I've kind of gone back and forth about doing that because I do love the way that it looks now, just like simple and clean. And there's a part of me that is a little bit hesitant because shiplap is just such a like huge thing right now, just with, I mean, and I love it too. Like, I think it's beautiful. You'll see I have it actually in my powder room down here. But I'm worried that in like 6 years, it's kind of going to be the thing that everybody's done and is kind of over, and I'll maybe regret gluing shiplap to this wall, because that's a big thing to replace. Because to do it really, really well, as I'll mention, because I have done it in my bathroom, you really need to glue it to your wall. And if you do that, you basically ruin your drywall. And that's a big, like, that's a job I'm not sure I would want to tackle, is replacing that or changing that. So I don't know, I'm still kind of torn what I'm gonna do right there, if anything. But other than that, let's move into this area. So right here we have the entrance to our basement. So we have an unfinished basement right here, which is awesome. If anyone has ever had an unfinished basement, in fact, I was talking to my sister about this recently. She had a basement that was unfinished for a while they lived there, and they just recently finished it. And she said there are times where she misses having it unfinished because, you know, her kids used to be able to ride scooters down there, which again, my kids can do that down there. They can set up the net and hit balls off the tee. Like, there's so many things they can do in an unfinished basement that you absolutely could not do if you finished it. So from that foyer, we move in to the right to our mudroom in all of its fluorescent light glory. I have to say the lighting in here is hideous. It looks much better in person, but this functionally is probably another one of my favorite spaces in the house, because it just is so nice to have a place where my kids can like drop their stuff. I love that they can drop all their mud in here so it doesn't get tracked onto my wood floor. One of the things that makes that possible is this tile, which again, it looks much better in person. It looks really kind of like wonky and yellowy in this light, but it's really much more like subdued in person. But the thing I love about this, it's a natural slate, but what I love so much about it is there's a lot of texture in the tiles themselves and also like in the grout in between the tiles, which makes a great like trapping place for mud. So as the kids walk into the house, all that mud and dust and dirt, eventually by the time they get to the wood floor, is kind of left in the mudroom. So it really helps to keep my house clean and my floors clean. A couple things in here. My husband actually built this little storage area as kind of like a temporary storage for us for now. This was actually built out of all the pallets that we had left over from building. If you build a house and you get a lot of stuff, like you're ordering the stuff yourself, you accumulate a ton of pallets. Let me tell you, we still have a pile of pallets outside, but basically he built this just out of pallet wood, which honestly I think is kind of cute, and it's totally functional for now, but eventually we would love to do like a formal like really nice built-in and trimmed out cubby system or locker system in here. But again, I think that's kind of lower on the priority list. I know I keep saying that. Eventually I'll show you guys the stuff that we do have on our priority list that we do want to do. But that's one of the things I think is just not super important for us right now. Okay, so be warned, I'm going to pick up the tripod again. This gets very wobbly, but from there we have move into my powder room. So this is just the powder room. I really love this room. I don't know how well the like paint color is picking up on here, but this paint color is actually Silver Strand by Sherwin-Williams. I love this paint color. You'll see as we move up into the master bathroom, I have this color in my master bathroom, and there's a lot more natural light up there, so you'll be able to hopefully pick it up a little bit better. It's a gray that has a little bit of green and blue in it, so it's a really perfect color if you like that kind of like calming, soothing kind of color that's perfect for like a bedroom or a bathroom. It's neutral, but it still is kind of like colored. I really love it. So this is the shiplap wall that I was kind of talking about. I really do love how it turned out, although like I think like some of my cuts were not perfect. You can kind of see them there, but I kind of would maybe like to put a piece of like trim work there possibly to make it look a little bit more finished. But other than that, we have just like an oval mirror in here, pedestal sink, very simple. Okay, so from the powder room and the mudroom, we move into the back area of the house. This is kind of the open area of our house where we have, first off, our kitchen. I love the kitchen. We've lived in a lot of subpar kitchens, like up to this point. We've been married for 17 years now, actually, next week. We've lived in a lot of kitchens that have been very small and very crammed and very non-functional, and so it's so nice to finally have like our dream kitchen. But let me just talk you guys through just a couple of things in here. So probably the first question that people might wonder is what countertops we went with. So we did on the back perimeter, you can see the very, very dark gray. That's a quartz, I think a Caesar stone quartz. I think the color is called Raven. But it's just anyone that knows much about countertops, quartz is basically like it's like your workhorse kind of countertop. It doesn't scratch easily, it doesn't stain, it doesn't spot or etch. It's just really like hardy. So we wanted that where all of our work surfaces were by the sink and by the stove. So when we were designing the house, I'm pretty flexible when it comes to like finishes and like a lot of different things that we picked for the house, but there were two things that I really kind of had my heart set on. One of them was marble, specifically marble in the kitchen. The second thing was a freestanding tub. So those were kind of my like non-negotiables, if you will. I was willing to let other things drop way before I would let those drop. Now I did a lot of research on this beforehand. I knew that marble in a kitchen is typically considered like a no-no because marble is probably one of the very softest and like, I guess, most temperamental of solid stone surfaces in a kitchen. It gets water spots, it etches easy, it scratches easily, like it's very affected by stains and by like acids and things. They can kind of like eat away at the finish of the marble. We looked at other options. We looked at doing quartz for, like they have quartz that mimics the look of, is it Calcutta marble that we went with? I think it's Calcutta. I'll list it here. But they mimic that kind of like veined gray and white marble look, but it's not the same. If you've ever walked through like a stone warehouse and actually looked at the actual slabs, I personally think there's nothing as beautiful as like a slab of marble. So I was okay with the fact that, I knew that this was going to be like not in perfect condition forever. I knew that it was going to get scratched. I knew it was going to etch. And that's absolutely true. This countertop, I mean, it looks really nice right here, but if you look really closely, there's definitely a lot of spots in here where like water spots have happened and kind of like etched away the glossy finish. There's a lot of scratches in it. It definitely doesn't look perfect, but I am totally okay with that. I mean, knowing that, like I totally would have still made this decision 1,000 times because I just love it so, so much. Long story short, if you're the type of person that wants your countertop to look flawless for like 10, 15 years, then definitely don't go with marble. But if you are okay with the fact that, it's gonna look a little bit worn and look a little bit aged and gonna get some scratches in it and just look very like well-loved, then maybe marble would be an okay choice for you. I don't wanna go into all the details here. I'll possibly consider doing like another video on this, but we saved so much money in our kitchen just by some of the things that we chose and some of the work that we did ourselves. We probably saved like $20,000 in this kitchen. If that's something that interests you guys, like if you're interested in hearing about like those really like the nitty-gritty decisions that we made in here, let me know in the comments below and I would be happy to like talk more about that. But other than that, that's our kitchen. Pendant lights also from Amazon. I'll try and link those below. The sign I have up there, I actually made that sign out of pallet wood. Once again, love that sign. So there's not a lot of things that I actually want to do in here. Like I really am happy with how this looked. The only thing that I'd like to do that we have plans for, and hope this is probably one of the higher priority things to do. You see this wall right here? So initially there was a cabinet right there and we ended up taking it off because I just didn't like the idea of that kind of, one, just sitting there all by itself, and two, blocking the view into like the living space. So I'm super glad that we did that, but we probably will put open shelving there out of reclaimed wood. One thing about like the white and the gray and the stainless is it does look very sterile and a little bit harsh. So I think throwing in some wood shelves there that have some like soft decorations on them will really help like add a like warmer, kind of more inviting and rustic sort of feel to the kitchen. So from that kitchen, we'll kind of move over here. This is just kind of the dining space right here. Let me show you guys the chandelier. This one actually needs to be dropped as well. Once again, we had them install them kind of high because during construction, there is nothing more annoying than walking back and forth and hitting your head on a chandelier that's just kind of like sitting down too low. So I would like to drop that probably about a foot or two, I don't know. But we just have like our old table in here, and then that moves into the family room. So let me get a little closer and show you guys that. Okay, so here is our family room. I love this room. So I mentioned that with this house is decorated pretty much completely with like stuff that we already had. The only thing that I did buy for the house, seriously the day after we moved in, was the rug. I knew that I wanted like a big white rug in this house, and I know that I'm kind of crazy for getting a white rug because I mean I've got 4 kids. I have ingrained in my kids that you do not wear shoes on this rug. Your shoes stay in the mudroom, and 95% of the time that's true. And I say that realizing that I still have my Birkenstocks on, and I've already walked on that rug a few times. But for the most part, we're really good about like trying to keep it clean. I know that it's not going to look clean forever, but I am okay with that because I just think it like makes this room look so good having that white rug in the middle. So there's a lot of things that we would like to do to this room. So basically right now we have very few decorations in here, just a couple of pictures on our little pillars, and then I have this magnolia wreath that my mom made for me as kind of a housewarming gift. I love that wreath. It's so cute. Then the sign in here I made from actually a painting that I got at the thrift store. I think I paid like $5 on the, if you flip that thing over, there's actually a really old photograph from like the 70s of like some aspen trees or something. So I ended up just flipping that around, painting it with the same color that my trim work is, the alabaster Sherwin-Williams paint that we had left over. So I painted it white, and then I stenciled on the saying there, which comes from a Tim McGraw song. Any of you Tim McGraw fans out there, one of our favorite songs, like as a family, we love that song. And so I think I saw that on Pinterest or something. I definitely didn't come up with that idea myself, but I made that for like $7. I'm super proud of myself. It took me like 4 days, so there was definitely a lot of time that went into making that, but super happy with how that turned out. I definitely would like to do something with this wall here. I think like I'd like to possibly do some sort of really informal gallery wall. I love pictures. Again, I have a lot of really fun kind of informal pictures of my kids growing up over the years. I'd love to do like a black and white gallery on there possibly. Then other than that, we have this little area over here. You can see where the TV is. We would really love to dress up our fireplace. In fact, we initially, as we were building, that was the plan, was to do like some really nice white trim around it, have some stacked stone right around the actual fireplace, and then do some trim work and some shiplap on the wall above, like behind the TV. So that's still kind of the plan. It just, our drywallers were in here. We were running out of time. We're at the top of our budget, and they asked us if they wanted us if we wanted them to just wrap it with drywall. And so we were like, yeah, go ahead and just wrap it with drywall. We'll get to it later. So for now, I mean, it looks fine, but I definitely think it would add a lot if we were able to do that. I think it would add a lot to this room. So that's probably one of the slightly higher priority things that I would like to have done in here. And along with that, actually in the house plans, if you can see these kind of like recessed areas right there that are right in between, like see the pillar and the wall right there. So those are supposed to be built-ins. So we're supposed to have like cabinetry right there. So that's something that probably when we do the fireplace, we'll go ahead and do that at the same time so that we can have some like storage in there. I think it will look really nice, although I'll be honest, I kind of like the look of like the recess as well. I don't know, so I'm kind of torn. One more thing that we would like to do in here, I don't know how well you can kind of get this because my lens is not super wide, but if you see these little pillars, right here, I have one here, if you come over here, we have one here. So initially, like the plan was possibly to do like a post right here, like a reclaimed wood post that goes here, and then a beam that runs across the ceiling over to that side, and then another post that comes back down. We're not quite sure, one, how that would look, or two, if we have like the craftsman skills to make that look really good. Reclaimed beams are super, super expensive. So we're still kind of trying to figure out, one, if we want to do that, and two, if we think it actually will look good, because I would hate to like go through all the work of putting that up and then realize it looks really weird. So I don't know. Again, that's another decision that we're kind of on the fence about. That's basically everything, I think, for down here. So a couple things I just want to mention before we end. First of all, be sure to look for part 2 because I'm going to be doing the tour of the second level, which is basically where all the bedrooms are and where the master bathroom is. So yeah, definitely like subscribe and check back because I'll put that up very soon. Another thing I just need to mention, it's actually been kind of fun filming this because I spent hours last night cleaning the house because I knew I was going to be filming this video. So I have to say that, one, because our house is never this clean. Like, I don't want you to look at this and think like, oh wow, that's amazing. Like, her house is so clean, because it's not this clean ever. But it was a good reminder for me because like, you live in a house, we lived here for a year now, and it's crazy to think how quickly like you kind of just get like settled and comfortable, and you forget how much, like I've forgotten how much I really love this house. You know, as I look around and you see how messy it is and you see yourself like living in the house and there's clutter everywhere, and that's just like, that's just life. That's just part of living in a house, especially if you have kids. But like, it's hard to see past that stuff sometimes and see like how lucky you are, how blessed you are, how, you know, how much you do love your home. Anyway, sorry for that big rant, but that is all I have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. It was fun to give you a peek into, yeah, what we did here. Please leave me any comments below, any recommendations. If you guys have like design recommendations or any like Instagrammers that you follow you think might be kind of my style, then definitely leave those below too. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and I will check back with you guys soon.